Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Silvia Ningrum, NIM 1820591. Now we're gonna learn about conversationally speaking, approaches to the teaching of comprehension. Well, in these discussions, we will discuss 3 points. The first is what is communicative use in speaking, and then what are technical use in speaking teachings, and the last is the theoretical of speaking language. What is communicative use in speaking? Communicative activities include any activities that encourage and require students to talk and listen to other students, as well as with people in the program, and the community communicative activities have real goals: seeking information, speaking down boundaries, talking about oneself, and learning about culture. The next is discussions of the concept of communications competency. Communicative competence is a term in linguistics, not only referring to the grammatical knowledge of language users, but also social knowledge about how and when to use speech appropriately. The ability to use language correctly and appropriately according to communicative competence is to achieve communication goals. The desired outcome of using language is the ability to communicate competently, not the ability to use exactly as native speakers would. That is, language communicators will communicate naturally without the dictates of the influence of native speakers. These conditions strongly reflect the existence of communicative competence as a target for language learning achievement. The characteristics of communicative competence as follows. 1. The dynamic interpersonal nature of communicative competence and its reliance on the negotiation of meaning between two or more people who to some extent share the same symbolic system. 2. Its applications to spoken and written language and many other symbolic systems. 3. The role of context in determining centering communicative competencies, the infinite variety of situations in which communications take place, and the dependence of success role and one's understanding of the context and on previous experience of a similar kind. And the last, communicative competence as a relative concept, not absolute, which depends on the cooperation of all participants, a situation that makes it possible to talk about the degree of communicative competence. Next, what are technical use in speaking teaching? In teaching speaking English, the teacher uses many techniques. The techniques used are question and answer, role play, quizzing topics, and games techniques. The first is the question and answer technique. Can improve students' vocabulary mastery because the teacher always provides explanations using Indonesian so that they can know the meaning of the topic. It might be suitable for elementary school students because this technique is too easy. 2. The role play technique can make students improve their pronunciations. They are also used to speaking in front of the class. Through the role-play techniques, students can explore their ability in dramatizing dialogue. However, the technique also has a weakness, namely that students are less innovative because students only read dialogue from books. This can make students feel happy. It can also develop their pronunciations. This technique is suitable to be applied to junior high school and senior high school students. And the third, game techniques are used to teach speaking. This technique can help students motivate the class because students make clues and other friends guess the answer. It takes a lot of time to use this technique. It makes them happy, so they are not shy or afraid to speak in front of the class. This technique is suitable for elementary school, junior high school, and high school. And the next is the theoretical of speaking language. There are 6 theoretical of speaking language. 1. Behavior theory. 2. Social pragmatic theory. nativistic theory, language acquisition device, semantic cognitive theory, cultural and linguistic diversity perspective. Behavior theory. The behavioral perspective says that language is a set of verbal behaviors learned through operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a method of changing behavior so that a desired behavior is reinforced immediately after it occurs. B.R. Skinner is considered to be the father of the modern behavioral theory. This theory can be applied to many aspects of human learning, including speech and language. The theory centers around the idea that children are conditioned by their environment and the reinforcement of their communication. Socio-pragmatic theory. Socio-pragmatic theory considers communication as a basic function of language. This perspective was first seen in infant-caregiver interactions, in which the caregiver responds to the infant's tones and gestures. This socio-pragmatic perspective emphasizes the importance of the role of communicative partners. Partners' interpretations of what was said defines the outcome of the speech act. Next is language acquisition device. The main theories associated with the nativist theory is Noam Chomsky. He came up with the idea of the language acquisition device, or LAD. The LAD is a language organ that is hardwired into the brain at birth. Semantic cognitive theory. Clinicians use the semantic cognitive theory by describing children's strategies for gaining new information. For example, the complexity of a sentence, the amount of information in the sentence, and the rate at which the sentence is said may significantly affect the way a child understands a sentence. Cultural and linguistic diversity perspective. Although not necessarily considered a theory of language acquisition, clinicians need to be aware of cultural and diversity perspective. Regardless of the theory of language development that is followed, children mature and grow within the context of their caregiver, whether they are parents, family members, or other members of the community. These people provide an environment with communication for the maturing child that reflect the range of meaning values, perfections, and beliefs of the cultures they are a part of. Okay everyone, that is for me, and thanks for watching and have a nice day.